Hi, GenderBlenders. Welcome to week 118. And if I sound subdued this week's topic is the hate crime at McDonald's. And it said Steffi brought this horrible incident to our attention. And so for this week's topic, comment on how this incident touches you. What action do you feel needs to be taken, etc. Also feel free to promote the petition. So maybe there's a couple out there that haven't heard. A poor transgender lady kind of got beaten up at McDonald's. And it was a very distressing video on a number of fronts. First of all, that kind of a thing can happen. Second of all, how the video got taken. That video appeared on YouTube and kind of went viral. It was taken by an employee who took the video instead of helping the poor lady. Dragging her across the room by her hair, kicking her, basically causing her to really be in very, very bad shape. It was horrible. It was very disturbing to watch. And I don't know whether you all saw that or not, but it just goes to show you how much work we have to do. I did sign the petition. There's a petition. I will put a link down there. I will put a link if you haven't signed the petition. Now, in all fairness to McDonald's, they did fire at least the person that took that video. I hear conflicting reports. I hear that the staff on duty at the time was fired, and I heard that only that one person was fired. I don't know that we know the truth, but that's what I heard on that. But indeed, you go into an establishment and you expect to more or less be safe in that establishment, but no. So how does it make me feel? What action do you feel needs to be taken? Yeah, well, there is a petition that says at www.change.org, petitions demand that the employees on duty at McDonald's be held responsible in the beating of a trans woman. And I think there's more than that. I think there's an education that really needs to happen to employers. Now, mine is really good. They have, when I think I related real early when I started blogging on GenderBlenders. I work for a private company, and, they don't really have to take as good care. But, mine sure does. And I've had nothing but respect in my organization. But, for McDonald's and large companies like that, they need to be able to help their trans employees and their trans customers. And that didn't happen. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. That's not me that made that up. That was Martin Luther King Jr. said that many years ago. And I think you know that ultimately Martin Luther King Jr. gave his life for improving the lot of blacks in America. Harvey Milk for us gay and lesbian and transgender folks. But it does take action. And some of you have asked me how come I've gotten so militant about doing that. And yes, I do understand that there are folks who really just need to lead their own lives. They have enough problems on their own. But I'll tell you, we have to do this. We are not going to get our rights otherwise. April 25th. So here's how my militancy works. April 25th, Monday, after that incident occurred. In the car, I thought I would see just what the media was saying about this. So one of the things that I turned on was that Roger Hitchcock show, nationally syndicated, so to speak. And I heard Roger saying, well, her parents were screwed up. No wonder she's so confused, talking about the trans lady. Well, at least he called her she. Then he talked about how much trouble she had getting a job and made the snide comment that suppose the beard might have been a factor. Now, Roger claims to be a recovering attorney. I think he fell off the wagon because that was sure attorney rhetoric. First of all, it gives the impression that it's okay because she's in the wrong. At least he didn't say it was okay, and I'll get to that in a minute. To go beating up on the poor lady. But, it's just these innuendos that, the next group is these transgenders, and we have to, they're so militant and things like that. Well, that's because we're beat up on. And they think this is a choice, and it's not. But that was the least of the issues that I heard. About 6:30, I turned on the John and Ken show on KFI. 50,000 watt clear channel station out here, coming to us from Los Angeles. Covers an entire West Coast because it is a 50,000 watt station. And what do I hear? Some really, really ugly sayings from some people who really gave the impression that it was certainly okay to beat up on that poor lady. So I wrote the station manager. Here's my militancy. Program manager, KFI. One email. The John and Ken show copies. Advertising director for Clear Channel copies. AT&T Wireless copies. Cadillac division of GM copies. The reason for the two advertisers is they're endorsed by the John and Ken show. And here's my email to KFI. Last night, Monday, April 25th, 2011, I decided to listen to KFI radio at about 6:30 in the evening. What I heard being discussed was the incident of the lady being beaten up at McDonald's. Here is what I heard. At first, we were told it was a teenage girl who was getting beaten up. Then later, we find it was a 22-year-old transgender. A transvestite, cross-dressing man. He was the supposed victim. Which, of course, says, oh, well, it's okay to beat up because it was just a cross-dresser. Oh, come on, folks. My letter continues. What irresponsible, malevolent garbage. That statement is wrong on so many levels. The implication that it's okay to beat up a human being because they don't fit your stereotype of a human. It's not okay. That's what is so irresponsible. I'm quoting from my letter. You are tacitly telling a large audience that it's okay to harm someone. Further, a transgendered female is not a cross-dressing male. Your description trivializing that condition is malevolent. She is no more man than Sarah Palin. Do you realize that there are people born with both sets of genitals? And if their parents guess wrong later in life, their body rejects that mistake, and they die unless they transition to the needed gender. Do you know for a fact that she was a transvestite? No, of course you don't. Again, that is irresponsible bigotry. However, let's assume that she was merely a transvestite. It's okay to almost kill her? That sounds suspiciously like the line from Blazing Saddles. Hey boss, can I shoot this? N-word. You folks deserve to be fired, just like the perpetrator who laughed, rather than help a fellow human being in need. KFI needs to fully apologize for your irresponsible and reproachable behavior. I expect a response and an apology to this horrible excuse for broadcasting. I notice you endorse, among others, AT&T Wireless and Cadillac. I promise you that I will not ever buy a Cadillac, nor will I ever consider using AT&T Wireless. Unless they stop advertising from you, I will no longer ever listen to your station nor support any of your advertisements. Unless you publicly apologize for such outrageous commentary, I will tell everyone I know what I heard and who I have contacted, and recommend that they likewise boycott your station and your advertisers. I am sorely disappointed in your choice to act irresponsibly and cause others to assume that it is likewise okay to marginalize and trivialize an atrocity perpetrated on a fellow human being. Disgusted, Stephanie M. Bench. That was my letter. I waited several days, did not get a response back. So I did two things. I filled out, let me see if I can get this up here. This is Form 2000E. I filled out, this is to the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, as a media complaint. And I asked them, they have basically a description of the thing, and I just went through that. And it says, these people were making light of that poor lady in Baltimore who got beat up in McDonald's. The impression was that it was okay because it was a cross-dressing man. Flames bigotry encourage incidents like these. Please consider this in their license renewal. I sent that off. I will put a link to the FCC in case anyone else so desires. And I sent a response to KFI. To Program Manager John Kenshow, Advertising Director, AT&T Wireless, Cadillac Division, FCC. Since you have chosen not to respond in any way to the letter I sent you, I am forced to assume that you have little or no regard for your audience. For a 50,000-watt high-power station, that is unconscionable. I had forwarded to the Federal Communications Commission, by way of Form 2000E, the time and content of the show referenced in my first letter. I have also informed them that you've chosen not to respond to my letter and its implications regarding KFI's concern for their audience. I have asked them to consider my complaint during the time KFI's license renewal is pending. Since I submitted that form online, I have also received and retained the confirmation of receipt number. I have asked many of my friends and coworkers to consider this incident in their choice of radio broadcasting and use your products from the advertisers of your station. I am also sending letters copying this letter to the customer service operations of AT&T Wireless and Cadillac. Stephanie M. Bench, Carlsbad, California. That did get a response back. I was out of town. Let me contact you next week and discuss this after I hear about what that incident was all about. That's what I got in an email. Nothing more. No apologies. No nothing. So that's what I've done. It was a horrible incident, folks. But that's where we are. I really encourage you, when things like this happen, Okay, don't let it slide. That was not human, what happened. Until next week, this is Steffi saying bye-bye, everyone.